Have you ever felt like stress is taking over your life? Maybe it hits you when you're stuck in traffic, racing against a deadline, or facing a conversation you've been dreading. Your heart races, your mind spins out of control. You wish you could just stay calm. But no matter how hard you try, it feels impossible. You're not alone. In today's fast-paced world, stress has become almost a constant companion for many of us. And the worst part, most of us have never been taught how to deal with it properly. We either suppress it until we explode, or let it control our actions and decisions, leading to even more chaos. What if I told you that staying calm, even in the most stressful moments, is actually a skill you can learn? A skill rooted in ancient wisdom, practiced by warriors, leaders, and philosophers for thousands of years. In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 powerful tips to help you stay calm when life feels overwhelming. These aren't just feel-good ideas. They're practical, battle-tested techniques that you can start using today to regain control over your mind, your emotions, and your life. If you've ever wished for an off switch for your stress, you're exactly where you need to be. Let's dive right in. Alright, let's jump into tip 1. And honestly, this is the foundation for staying calm in any situation. Focus on what you can control. It sounds simple, right? But think about how often we get stressed out by things completely outside of our control. Maybe it's the weather ruining your weekend plans. Maybe it's your boss suddenly changing a project deadline. Maybe it's the way someone else speaks to you, rudely, unfairly. Now pause for a second. Ask yourself, can I actually control this? If the answer is no, then it's not worth your energy. See, the ancient Stoics taught that there are only 2 categories in life. 1, things you can control, like your actions, your thoughts, your effort. 2, things you cannot control, like the actions of others, the economy, the weather, traffic. When we obsess over things we can't change, we hand over our peace of mind. We become frustrated, anxious, angry, all because we're fighting a battle that's impossible to win. Here's a simple example. Imagine you're stuck in a traffic jam on the way to an important meeting. You can't control the traffic. No amount of honking, complaining, or stressing is going to clear the road. But you can control how you respond. You can choose to breathe deeply, put on a podcast you love, call ahead to let them know you'll be late, and stay calm. That's the power of focusing on what you can control. And here's the real magic. When you shift your focus back to your own actions, you actually feel more powerful. You're not a victim of circumstances anymore. You become the driver of your own emotional state. Another real-world application. Let's say you're waiting for the results of a job interview. You can't control when they call you back or what decision they make. But you can control your own behavior, like preparing for other opportunities, learning a new skill, or simply practicing patience without spiraling into panic. By choosing to put your energy into your own efforts, not into the unknown, you protect your peace. I know this isn't always easy, especially when the stakes feel high. It's natural to want things to go a certain way. But when you catch yourself worrying about things you can't control, try this simple exercise. Step 1. Name it. Say to yourself, this is outside of my control. Step 2. Release it. Take a deep breath and consciously let go of the need to fix or fight it. Step 3. Redirect. Ask yourself, what can I do right now that is within my control? Then do that. No matter how small it seems, remember, your calmness, your peace, your energy, they are too valuable to waste on things you have zero power over. Guard them fiercely. Focus on what you can control, and you'll find yourself staying grounded even in the middle of life's wildest storms. Now let's move on to tip 2. And this one is just as powerful as the first. Embrace what you cannot change. Look, life throws curveballs. Sometimes no matter how hard you try, no matter how well you plan, things still don't go your way. You might get sick before an important event, you might face unexpected rejection, you might lose something or someone that meant the world to you. And it's so easy, so human, to fight against these realities. We resist. We ask, why is this happening to me? We get stuck in frustration, sadness, or anger, trying to mentally rewrite a situation that's already real. But here's a truth that can change your life. Fighting reality only creates more suffering. Acceptance, on the other hand, brings peace. Now, acceptance doesn't mean you like what's happening. It doesn't mean you give up or that you don't care. Acceptance simply means you stop wasting energy resisting something you cannot change and start focusing on what you can do moving forward. Let me give you a real example. Imagine you've been preparing for months for a big outdoor event, maybe a wedding, a launch party, a marathon, and then the day comes and it pours rain. You can't stop the rain. You can't rewind time. You have two choices. Get angry, frustrated, and spend the day miserable. Or embrace it. Laugh, grab an umbrella, adjust your plans, and make the best out of the situation. When you choose to embrace what you can't change, you reclaim your emotional freedom. You dance in the rain, literally and metaphorically. Here's another personal example. Years ago, I missed a career opportunity I had worked incredibly hard for. At first, I was devastated. I kept replaying everything, thinking about what I could have done differently. But eventually I realized it was out of my hands now. The decision had been made, and holding on to that anger and regret was only hurting me. When I finally accepted it, I could move forward, and guess what? A better opportunity showed up not long after. Acceptance creates space. Space for new beginnings, space for healing, space for inner calm. If you're facing something right now that feels unfair, unexpected, or painful, ask yourself, is there anything I can realistically do to change this? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to let go. You can even say it out loud. I don't have to like this, but I accept that this is where I am right now. And from here, I choose peace. It's a practice, not a one-time thing. But every time you consciously choose acceptance over resistance, you strengthen your inner resilience. You become calmer, stronger, and more open to whatever life brings next. Remember, peace doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from learning how to dance with it. Alright, moving on to tip 3, and this one might just be a game changer if you often feel overwhelmed. Practice mindfulness. Now, you've probably heard the word mindfulness tossed around a lot, but what does it really mean? And more importantly, how can it actually help you stay calm when you're stressed? Mindfulness is simply the practice of being fully present. It means bringing your attention to the here and now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but this exact moment. When we're stressed, what usually happens? Our minds race into the future. What if this goes wrong? What if I fail? Or we spiral into the past. I should have done this differently. Why did I mess up? Both directions, past and future, pull us away from the only place we have any real power, the present moment. Mindfulness gently pulls us back. It reminds us, right now I'm breathing, right now I'm safe, right now I'm okay. Let's try a mini exercise together, just for a few seconds. Sit up straight, take a slow, deep breath in, hold it for a second, and then slowly breathe out. As you breathe, notice how the air feels entering and leaving your body. Notice the sounds around you. Notice how your body feels sitting where you are. Congratulations, you just practiced mindfulness. Simple, right? And you can do this anytime, when you're stressed at work, stuck in traffic, lying awake at night worrying. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you're about to walk into a big meeting and your heart is pounding with nerves. Instead of letting your mind run wild with, what if I mess up thoughts? You pause. You take 3 deep breaths. You feel your feet grounded on the floor. You focus on the feeling of the door handle as you open it. You stay right here in this moment, not 5 steps ahead. And suddenly, you're calmer, more centered. You walk into that room not carried away by fear, but anchored in presence. Bạn cần tôi hỗ trợ gì thêm với đoạn văn này không? Or picture another scenario. You're at home and your mind starts racing at bedtime with tomorrow's to-do list. Instead of letting stress take over, you pause. You focus on the feeling of the sheets, the sound of your breathing. You remind yourself, right now I am resting, that's all I need to do. The more you practice mindfulness, the stronger your ability to stay calm becomes, even in chaos. It's like training a muscle. At first, your mind will wander a lot. That's okay, that's normal. The magic is in noticing when it drifts and gently bringing it back. Mindfulness isn't about perfect focus, it's about coming back, again and again. So next time you feel stress bubbling up, remember, you don't have to fix everything in that moment. You just have to come back to now, one breath, one heartbeat, one moment at a time. That's where your true calm lives. All right, here we are at tip 4, and it's a big one. Build your resilience. Now let's be real. Life isn't easy. There will always be challenges, setbacks, and moments that test you. Resilience is what gives you the strength not just to survive these moments, but to grow these moments, but to grow stronger because of them. When you're resilient, stress doesn't knock you down for long. You might bend, you might stumble, but you don't break. Think of a tree in a storm. A rigid, stiff tree might snap when the wind gets too strong, but a flexible tree, one that can sway with the wind, it bends, it moves, it weathers the storm, and it's still standing when the sky's clear. That's what resilience looks like in our lives. Here's a real-world example. Imagine you've been preparing for months for a major exam, and you fail. Now it's so easy to let that failure define you, to say, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, and spiral into self-doubt and stress. But resilience says something different. Resilience says, this is a setback, not the end. What can I learn from this? How can I come back stronger? Maybe you realize you need a new study method. Maybe you discover you need better time management. Maybe you simply need more time, and that's okay too. Instead of beating yourself up, you use the setback as fuel to grow. And that growth builds a deeper, stronger sense of calm inside you, because you know that whatever happens, you'll figure it out. Another smaller example, you get stuck in traffic and miss an important appointment. You can sit there pounding the steering wheel in frustration, or you can practice resilience. Take a breath, accept what's happened, and calmly reschedule. Resilience isn't about pretending things don't hurt. It's about refusing to let pain or stress define your story. And here's something important. Resilience is a skill. It's something you can build, like a muscle, by practicing over time. Here's how you start. When you face a challenge, pause and ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Remind yourself of times you've overcome hard things before. You've survived tough moments in the past, and you're stronger now because of them. And finally, talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. You wouldn't say to a friend, you're a failure. You'd say, this is hard, but you're going to get through it. So why not offer that same compassion to yourself? Every time you choose to stand back up after life knocks you down, you're not just surviving, you're building an unshakable foundation inside you. A foundation that stress and chaos can't easily crack. So remember, resilience isn't about being invincible, it's about being flexible, learning, and growing. No matter what life throws your way, stay strong, bend when you need to, and trust that you are tougher than the storm. All right, welcome to tip 5, and this one, honestly, could change the way you experience stress forever. Choose your response. Now, listen. You can't always control what happens to you. Someone might cut you off in traffic. Your boss might criticize you unfairly. Life might throw you a completely unexpected curveball. But here's the good news. You always have the power to choose how you respond. And that tiny space between what happens to you and how you choose to react, that's where your true freedom lives. There's a quote I absolutely love that sums it up perfectly. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Viktor Frankl. Let's break it down with an example. Imagine you're at work. You've just finished a huge project that you poured your heart into, and instead of praising you, your manager picks apart small mistakes. Instantly, your brain lights up with anger. You want to snap back. You want to defend yourself. You feel stress flooding your body. Now, in that exact moment, you have a choice. React impulsively and possibly escalate the situation. Or pause, take a deep breath and choose a calm, thoughtful response. Maybe you say, "Thank you for the feedback. I'll review the areas you mentioned." Maybe you ask for clarification calmly. Maybe you choose to process your emotions privately later, instead of exploding in the moment. By choosing your response, you protect your peace. You stay in control, not your emotions, not the situation. Another small, everyday example. Let's say someone sends you a rude text. Your first instinct might be to fire back something even ruder, but if you pause just for a second and choose patience over pride, you stop the cycle of negativity right there. Choosing your response doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you own them. You recognize, "I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling hurt. That's valid, but I'm still in charge of what I do next." And over time, the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You'll find yourself less reactive, less easily triggered, more grounded, even in stressful, chaotic moments. It's not always easy, especially when emotions run high. But every time you make the conscious choice to respond rather than react, you're building incredible emotional strength. You're saying to the world, "I control me, not circumstances, not other people. Me." So next time life presses your buttons, remember this. You can't always control the first feeling that rises up, but you absolutely control the second action you take. Pause, breathe, choose who you want to be in that moment. That's real strength, and that's the kind of strength that stress can never take away. All right, moving on to tip 6, and honestly, this is a big one in today's world. Limit excessive desires. Now, you might be thinking, what do desires have to do with staying calm when I'm stressed? Well, a lot more than you might realize. Here's the thing. So much of our modern stress comes from wanting more, chasing more, needing more. More money, more success, more followers, a bigger house, a better car, a fancier vacation. And every time we set our happiness on something outside of ourselves, something we don't yet have, we create a gap. A gap between where we are and where we think we should be. And living in that gap, constantly feeling like you're not enough yet, you don't have enough yet, is exhausting. It's a recipe for chronic stress and constant dissatisfaction. Think about it. You scroll through Instagram and suddenly you feel behind. Someone's traveling the world. Someone else just bought a new house. Another person just launched a successful business. Even if you were feeling fine before, now you feel like you're missing out, like you have to catch up. This is what the Stoics warned us about over 2,000 years ago. Uncontrolled desires are endless, and they rob us of peace. Here's a simple example. Imagine you've been saving up for a nice, reliable car. You finally get it. You're happy. But then, your friend shows up with the newest, most expensive model. Suddenly, your car doesn't feel so great anymore, even though nothing actually changed about your car, only your desire did. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said something powerful. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. So, how do we limit excessive desires? It's not about giving up ambition or living a life without dreams. It's about finding contentment with what you have, even as you work toward your goals. Here are a few ways you can practice this. Gratitude first. Every morning, list 3 things you're thankful for. Before you start thinking about what's missing, question your wants. Ask yourself, do I really need this to be happy? Or am I chasing an illusion? Celebrate progress, not just finish lines. Appreciate how far you've come, instead of always focusing on what's next. Another practical example, let's say you're stressed because you feel like you're not achieving enough in your career compared to others. Pause and ask yourself, according to who? Am I living for my own values or someone else's highlight reel? When you limit excessive desires, you take back your power. You stop letting external things dictate your worth or your peace. You create space to breathe, to enjoy, and to stay grounded no matter what's happening around you. Remember, true calm doesn't come from having everything. It comes from realizing you don't need everything to be happy. All right, we're now at tip 7, and this one is truly about building a strong foundation for staying calm no matter what life throws your way. Live by core virtues. Now, you might wonder, what do virtues have to do with stress? The answer is everything. The ancient Stoics taught that a calm, resilient life isn't built by luck. It's built by living according to a set of timeless values, or what they called virtues. There are 4 main ones. Wisdom, knowing what truly matters and making good choices. Courage, facing challenges bravely even when you're scared. Justice, treating others fairly and doing the right thing. Temperance, practicing self-control and balance in all things. When you anchor your life to these virtues, like you're no longer tossed around by every stressful moment. You have a steady internal compass guiding you, no matter how chaotic the outside world gets. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone unfairly blames you for a mistake you didn't make. Your emotions flare up. You feel the urge to shout, defend yourself aggressively, or even shut down completely. But if you live by virtues, you can pause and ask yourself, what does wisdom say? Maybe it's better to listen first before reacting. What does courage say? Maybe you need to calmly speak up for yourself. What does justice say? Maybe you should correct the misunderstanding without attacking the other person. What does temperance say? Maybe you need to stay calm and measured, not let anger take the wheel. Following virtues gives you a framework for handling stressful situations with grace, without losing your cool or your integrity. Here's another example. You see everyone around you chasing status, fame, money, and you feel pressure to keep up. But wisdom reminds you, not everything that glitters is gold. Justice reminds you to stay true to your own values, not compromise just to get ahead. Temperance reminds you to live with balance, not excess. And courage reminds you to walk your own path, even if it's different from the crowd. It's easy to get lost in today's noisy world. It's easy to react impulsively when you're stressed, but virtues pull you back to your center. They help you choose calm, even when stress tries to hijack your mind. Living by virtues doesn't mean you'll never feel upset or challenged. It means you'll have a blueprint for handling those emotions in a way you're proud of, a way that builds long-term peace, not short-term relief. So next time you're stressed, ask yourself, what would wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance ask me to do right now? You'll be amazed at how clear and powerful your next step becomes. Because when you build your life on virtues, you're building something stress can't easily shake. You're building strength from the inside out. All right, now let's move into tip 8. This one is deeply powerful, especially if you find yourself clinging tightly to how you wish things would stay. Accept life's impermanence. Here's a truth we don't always like to face. Everything changes. Nothing, no matter how beautiful, no matter how painful, stays the same forever. But here's the thing. A lot of our stress comes from fighting that simple reality. We resist change. We hold on tightly to people, moments, jobs, titles, feelings, as if we can freeze time. And when change inevitably happens, we feel crushed. We think something is wrong because life didn't stay the way we wanted. But what if, instead of fighting change, you started flowing with it? Think about nature for a second. Seasons come and go. Flowers bloom and wither. The tide rises and falls. The sun sets and rises again. Every single day. Change isn't the enemy. Change is the rhythm of life itself. Let me give you a simple real-life example. Maybe you had a friend you were incredibly close to. You shared everything. But over time, life paths shifted. Maybe they moved away, got married, changed jobs, grew in different directions, and now that friendship doesn't look the same. It hurts, right? It's tempting to get stuck thinking, why can't it be like before? But if you can embrace impermanence and impermanence, you can be grateful for what the friendship was. You can honor the memories without needing to chain yourself to them. You can allow both you and them the freedom to grow. Here's another everyday example. Maybe you loved a certain stage in your career or life when things felt exciting, fresh, full of possibilities, and now things feel routine. Or maybe you're facing uncertainty about what's next. Instead of mourning what's gone, you can ask, what new opportunities might be unfolding for me now? How can I honor the past and still embrace this new season of my life? Accepting impermanence doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you become numb. It means you cherish what you have while you have it, knowing that every chapter, every season, every relationship has its own beauty and its own natural end. It teaches you to live fully now, not someday in the future, to love people while they're here, to savor experiences while they last, to trust that even when something ends, something else begins. And when you live with that kind of mindset, stress has a much harder time finding a home in your heart because you stop fighting life, you start dancing with it. So next time you're feeling stressed because something is changing, breathe. Acknowledge the sadness, the fear, the uncertainty. Then gently remind yourself, this too is part of life's beautiful flow. Nothing lasts forever, and that's what makes every moment so incredibly precious. All right, here we go with tip 9. And this one is like a secret superpower for staying calm even when everything feels overwhelming. Practice gratitude. Now I know what you might be thinking. Gratitude? Seriously, how is being thankful going to help me when I'm stressed out of my mind? But hear me out. Gratitude isn't just about being polite or writing a list once in a while. It's about shifting your entire perspective. When you're stressed, your brain naturally zooms in on what's wrong. It hyper-focuses on problems, threats, frustrations. It's like a survival instinct. But in today's world, it often just makes us more anxious. Gratitude flips that lens. It reminds you, hey, not everything is broken. There's still good here. There's still beauty here. And that tiny shift, it creates space. Space for calm, space for hope. Let me give you a real-life example. Imagine you've had a terrible day at work. Deadlines missed, conflicts with coworkers, a boss who doesn't seem to appreciate your effort. You get home feeling defeated and exhausted. Now, your brain wants to replay every bad moment, right? But what if, just for a minute, you paused and asked, what went right today? Maybe you remember that a coworker smiled and said thank you. Maybe you got to enjoy a really good coffee this morning. Maybe you made it home safely to people who care about you. Are those things huge? Maybe not, but they're real. And when you notice them, you start to realize your bad day wasn't all bad. Gratitude doesn't erase your challenges. It just reminds you they're not the whole story. Here's a super quick exercise you can try right now. Take a deep breath. Think of one thing you're grateful for today. It could be something tiny, like the warmth of your coffee cup or a text from a friend. Say it out loud or in your mind. I'm grateful for good. That's it. Simple, powerful. Repeat it daily, and you'll literally start rewiring your brain to find peace faster, even in stressful times. Another real-world example. Let's say you're facing a financial setback. It's scary. It's stressful. But practicing gratitude doesn't mean pretending the problem doesn't exist. It means pausing to recognize, I'm grateful that I still have food to eat. I'm grateful that I still have people who love me. I'm grateful that I have the ability to find new opportunities. Gratitude reminds you of your resilience. It reconnects you to your strength, and it makes fear just a little bit smaller. So next time you're feeling stressed, don't just sit with the pressure. Pause. Look around. Find something, anything to be grateful for. Because even on your hardest days, there's always something worth noticing. And sometimes that tiny spark of gratitude is enough to light the way forward. And here we are. Tip 10. The final piece of the puzzle to staying calm when life gets stressful. Commit to lifelong self-improvement. Now I know, self-improvement sounds like one of those buzzwords that gets thrown around a lot. But here's the real heart of it. It's not about chasing some perfect version of yourself. It's about seeing growth as a never-ending journey, not a destination. When you commit to growing a little bit every day, something incredible happens. You start trusting yourself more. You start handling stress better. You stop seeing challenges as signs of failure and start seeing them as opportunities to learn. Think about it like this. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. You don't expect to sprint to the top in one day, right? You take step after step, sometimes struggling, sometimes resting, but always moving forward. Every bit of progress makes you stronger. Every slip teaches you something valuable. Foundry, self-improvement works exactly the same way. Here's a real-world example. Let's say you lose your temper during a stressful meeting. You might spiral into guilt. I'm terrible at handling pressure, I'll never change. But if you're committed to lifelong growth, you shift your thinking. You say, okay, I lost my cool this time. What can I learn from this? How can I handle it better next time? Maybe you realize you need better breathing techniques. Maybe you notice you need to prepare your mindset before meetings. Maybe you simply recognize that growth takes practice, and that's okay. Another everyday example, you set a goal to meditate every morning, but some days you forget. Instead of beating yourself up, you approach it with kindness. I missed today. Tomorrow's a new chance. That mindset, that gentle, persistent commitment to growth is what builds unshakable calm over time. Here are a few ways you can practice lifelong self-improvement starting today. Reflect regularly. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? Where can I get a little better? Stay curious. Treat mistakes not as failures, but as teachers. Be patient. Growth is messy, non-linear, and beautiful. You're exactly where you need to be. And remember, self-improvement isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you truly are. Calm, strong, resilient. One last thing, when you commit to growing a little bit every day, stress loses its grip on you. Because you stop expecting life to be easy, and you start trusting that whatever comes, you're becoming strong enough to handle it. So today, tomorrow, and every day after, choose to be a student of life. Learn from the hard days. Celebrate the small wins. And know that every step you take, no matter how tiny, is building a calmer, stronger, wiser you. And there you have it. 10 powerful tips to help you stay calm when life gets stressful. If you made it all the way here, first of all, thank you. Seriously. Taking time out of your busy day to focus on your growth, your peace, and your mindset is a huge deal. It shows that you're already doing the work, that you're already taking steps toward a calmer, stronger version of yourself. And remember, these tips aren't about being perfect. They're about building small habits, small shifts that add up over time. Some days will be easier than others. Some days you'll need to remind yourself to breathe a little deeper, to let go a little faster. And that's okay. That's part of the journey. If even one of these ideas spoke to you today, if you found a little more hope, a little more strength, I would love for you to hit the like button. It not only supports this channel, but it also tells me that videos like this are helpful for you. And if you want more tips, inspiration, and real talk about living a calmer, more grounded life, go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. Also, I'd really love to hear from you which tip resonated with you the most. Or maybe you have your own go-to method for staying calm that you want to share. Drop a comment down below. Your story might inspire someone else who needs it today. Thank you again for spending this time with me. I'm so grateful we're on this journey together. Keep going, keep growing, and above all, keep choosing calm, one moment at a time. I'll see you in the next video.